Hi everyone, thanks for joining my weekly Facebook Live series. Today we're going to talk about my top 10 tips to survive and even thrive in that job that you hate. And if you don't know me, I'm Caroline Castrillon. I'm the founder of Corporate Escape Artist. I'm a business and life coach that helps people escape their 9-to-5 jobs so they can find fulfillment working for themselves. So my top 10 tips to survive that job that you hate. It's definitely possible to survive and even thrive. You just have to have the right mindset and some strategies in place to help take you to the next level. So my first tip is really to shift your focus. Instead of focusing on that job that you hate or the manager that you can't stand, identify a goal that's going to help get you out of that corporate job. And it doesn't matter what the time frame is, whether it's 6 months from now or 2 years from now. The important thing is that you identify a goal and that you're working towards it. The next step then is to have an escape plan and an associated timeline along with that. The timeline is really important, so it'll hold you accountable. And then finally, you need to focus on that goal. So every day that you come to work, you should be thinking about how you can get closer and closer to that ultimate goal. If you focus on that ultimate goal rather than the current situation that you're in, you're going to find that the time is going to go by much more quickly. And then my next tip is really to focus on developing your skills. This is a great time to build on your skill set, so it'll make you a stronger candidate in the future. So if your future career involves public speaking, then start volunteering to speak publicly on behalf of your company so you can get some practice. If your ideal job involves event planning, start planning events for your company so you can start learning the ropes that way. If you're thinking about maybe being a solopreneur, this is a good time to learn the skills and tools that you're going to need to do that. Maybe things that your team is doing for you right now, like email marketing or website development. If you focus on developing your skills rather than serving time in your current job, then again, that time is going to go much more quickly. And my third tip is to get as much training as you can. A lot of companies focus on training their employees, so take advantage of it. And if your company offers education reimbursement, take advantage of that as well. Even if it's a small amount, you can potentially take a class at a community college or even an online class. As an example, a lot of the students in my coaching courses were HR professionals whose companies sent them there so they could learn the skills and develop the experience and then use that in their current jobs. My next tip is then to test and learn as much as you can. If you focus on testing and learning, you can gain a lot of experience that you can use in the future. In one of my previous blogs, I talked about the benefits of testing and learning using someone else's budget. So I'm not saying to do anything crazy with your boss's budget, but what I will say is there's something to be said for taking risks on behalf of someone else. So test, learn what works and what doesn't, and take notes because all of that information is going to really benefit you in the long term. And my next tip is just to make your current position as comfortable as possible. You have to be there anyway, so you might as well make it comfortable. Maybe negotiate a work from home scenario with your manager, even 1 or 2 days a week. That way you can avoid the commute and have less distractions. If there's projects that you can't stand, talk to your manager about maybe delegating those and focus on the projects that you actually enjoy. If you never get out of the office, get out to go to lunch every day and enjoy yourself. Don't have your eyeballs stuck to your computer screen all day. This is a good time to set boundaries. So if you're working 60-hour weeks, please stop. I'm not saying to abandon your job or not do a great job. But what I am saying is if you are in this transitional situation, it's time to put yourself first. If you're working yourself to the bone, it's very difficult to have the right mental and physical well-being that you're going to need to take yourself to that next phase of your career. And the next thing I would say is focus on your personal branding. This is a great time to maybe start attending networking events, participate in a panel discussion, go to lunch with your mentors, have coffee with people that are in your future career so you can learn from them. Maybe join a philanthropic or a corporate board. And it's also a good time to maybe take a look at your LinkedIn profile and update that as well as other social media profiles. You're also going to want to make a list of all the skills and accomplishments that you've acquired over your corporate career, because all of that is going to be hugely beneficial no matter what you do in the future. So quantify all of those achievements. And maybe it's a good time to start a blog and build on that. If you're thinking about starting your own business, maybe think about what your unique value proposition is. How are you going to differentiate yourself from the competition? And maybe even think about creating a website at this point, and think about what channels you can use to promote that. If you focus on your personal brand, that's only going to benefit you in the future. And then my next tip is to find somebody that you can confide in. If you're like me, it helps to vent and talk to somebody about things out loud, and all of that can be very therapeutic. Now, I've had jobs that I hated, and I will say I did vent to my boyfriend to the point that he wanted to throw me out a window. So while venting to your family members and significant others is okay, I would suggest that you find a trusted friend, preferably somebody that you don't work with, or even a therapist or a coach to help you through this phase. It can be very beneficial to unload all of those feelings on a regular basis. Although I will give you just one word of caution. I wouldn't suggest venting at work, because that can be counterproductive. It could spread to your coworkers, or worse, your boss. And my next tip is really to fill up your tank. Don't forget to fill up your tank with activities that you enjoy during this transitional period. So take that exercise class, take a French class, plan a girls trip, go skydiving, go to yoga, and even think about planning fun activities after work so you have something to look forward to. Filling up your tank is important because it's going to give you the nourishment and the satisfaction that will help to take you into that next phase. And my next tip is really to practice gratitude. I talked about the importance of practicing gratitude in my blog on shifting from a scarcity to an abundance mindset. So if you want to practice gratitude, maybe just do something simple, like write down 5 things at the end of each day that you're grateful for. Or if you really want to practice gratitude, you can develop a gratitude journal. One of my favorite quotes from Oprah Winfrey is, if you focus on what you have, you'll always have more. And if you focus on what you don't have, you'll never have enough. So think about that. It's very difficult to experience fear or any other negative emotions when you're practicing gratitude at the same time. And then finally, my last tip is just to look at this as a blessing. If you felt too comfortable in that corporate job, you wouldn't have the incentive to find something else that I know is going to provide you much more joy and fulfillment. Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking. So look at it as a blessing. Sometimes God puts us in difficult situations because he's trying to tell us that it's just time to move on. So my advice to you is to just plan your time wisely, look at this as a blessing, and enjoy the ride. I hope these tips were helpful. If you're watching live, please give me some thumbs up or write in the comments any topics you'd like me to cover in the future. And if you're watching the replay, I'm on Facebook Live every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Central. So check that out. This blog is going to be on my website at corporateescapeartist.com, where I have lots of other information on topics that I think you'll find really interesting and helpful. So check that out. And until next week, I will see you soon. Thanks for joining, everyone.